Okay.
All right. You ready?
Yeah. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Temple Beth Zion via Zoom on Shabbat morning on a gorgeous summer day in Buffalo or wherever you may be. We are thrilled to join together on this special Shabbat. It is Shabbat Nachamu, and we will be doing, and Kendra Myers will be leading a Haftarah reading particular for this day. And so we begin together with our inspiration for prayer. I enter this sacred space to voice the longings of my heart in prayer. In sacred company, I offer my love to the Holy One. I devote myself this morning to psalm and song, study and prayer. May my heart be lifted. May my thoughts be deepened. And may my soul, like the eagle, soar.
מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחזרת במשפטי וחמלה, וחמלה, באמונתך, באמונתך. מודה אני לפניך, מלך חי וקיים, שחזרת במשפטי וחמלה, וחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
As we enthusiastically offer gratitude for the opening of our day, we also recognize our gratefulness for our bodies. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human being with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Baruch atah Adonai, rofech chol basar, umafli la'asot. Praised are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously.
Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. Ata virata, ata yitzata, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata mishamera, mishamra b'kibi. Elohai, Elohai, neshama, shenatata bi tehorahi. נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא.
And having offered praise for our bodies and for our souls, we now take notice of the small miracles around us, our daily important miracles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lesech bina להבחין בין יום ובין לילה.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam okeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokaret al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam mabi shalomim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam anoten li'ayev koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shina b'nai u'truma be'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'ani bat chorin.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Oter Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen.
We continue with our blessing for learning, recognizing that every moment of every day of every week, even Shabbat in particular, is a time for learning both Torah and other things. We say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who sanctifies us with commandments, commanding us to engage with words of Torah. And we continue with words of celebration, with the words of Psalm 150.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, every kocho. Hallelujah, b'tia uzo. Hallelujah, begurota. Hallelujah, gedofulo. Hallelujah, 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 beteka shofar. Hallelujah, b'nevel v'chinor. Hallelujah, b'tofu machor. Hallelujah, b'ninim v'ugam. Hallelujah, 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 Trua. Hallelujah, Bitzitele Shama. Hallelujah, Bitzitele Trua. Kolam Shema, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Kolam Shema, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
Having roused our souls in praise, we now turn to the Chatzi Kaddish as we move between our preliminary service and the main part of our prayer service.
ועמדתי ברחרתי ויבליק מחרתי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. Yesh me Rabban Mevorach, Ve'olam Olam Me'aya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, Ve'yishabach, Vitpa'a v'tomam v'tnaseh, V'yitala, V'yitale, V'yitalal, Shemei v'kudasham v'richu. Ela min kol berchata v'shirata, please rise to shvechata v'nechemata, damiron be'oma, v'yemeru amen.
Words in praise of creation. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created, may they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. And similarly, creation asks us to love Adonai, to love God, to love the world, and to love it through good society and law. How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah.
יחווה וירא את שמך ולא נבוא ולא יגלם ולא נשאיר לעולם ועדי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך והביאנו לשלום בארצנו, כי ילבוא ישועות אתה, ובנו בחר מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמחה גדול, סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hashem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated as we continue on with the chanting of the Va-etchanan. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברתם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Recognizing our relationship with God as a covenantal one through Shema and Va-etchanan, we remember that that covenant is ours to uphold and God's as well, and that it has worked out in the past. And so we read, sing the song of women and men joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, God willing, the song of peace.
Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la Adonai, mi kamocha, negar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh pele, Nora tehilot oseh pele. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. To Yisrael, כמו בעזרת ישראל, ובטחן עמך, יהודה וישראל. Go עלינו, אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
If you are comfortable rising for tefillah, please join us in our central prayer and face towards the east if you like.
La 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 Adonai. La 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 שפתיי תפתח. La 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 ופי יגיד. ופי Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu b'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor VaHanora Elyon גומר חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניכם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוליד אתה, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל. ברחמים רבים, צונך נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ישועה, נאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל.
We continue with
נקדש את שמך בעולם, השם שמקדשים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היד נביאך, דיברו זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך הארץ, כבודו, אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מתיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, אבינו מלכנו, ומושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור דור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהים מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Amen. If you are standing, you may feel free to be seated. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which inspires us in faith and hope. For Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living. For Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness. For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Words of worship. Find favor, Adonai, our God, with your people Israel, and accept our prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, machazir shechinato leTzion.
מודים אנחנו לך, שתהו אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד, צור חיינו.
In gratitude, we acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever and ever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, We forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O Sovereign, let your name be forever blessed and praised. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulechana el lehodot. We continue with our prayer for peace.
Sim shalom, tov v'racha, chen b'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yelalai, lai, lai, yelalai, lai, lai, yelalai, lai, 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 yelalai, lai, 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 lai. Sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, tova v'racha. Sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, tova uveracha. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Oh, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, sing, 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 shalom, tova uveracha.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We take a few moments for silent prayers and reflections.
I'm going to do something a little different for today.
We move towards our Torah service, our Seder Kiryat Torah LeShabbat, our Torah reading for Shabbat. This week's Torah reading, Va-etchanan, from our second parsha in the book of Deuteronomy, our second Torah weekly reading from Deuteronomy, and also a special Shabbat, Shabbat Nachamu, the Shabbat of release, ease after the 9th of Av, the worst day on the Jewish calendar, giving us a special Haftarah as well. Our Seder Kiryat Torah Shabbat.
Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adoninu Kadosh Shemo Gadol Adonai Iti Uneromimo Shemo Yachdav Lecha Adonai Hagedola Ve'Gibura Ve'Tiferet Ve'Anitza Ve'Achol Ki Chol B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz Ki Chol B'Shamayim U'Va'aretz Lecha Adonai HaMamlacha Ve'Mignasi Lechol Lerosh. So I'm working very hard to make sure that everyone can see the Torah for this week's Torah reading, Parshat Va-etchanan. And the reason why is because all of you can read this Torah portion very easily. We are in Parshat Va-etchanan, as the rabbi made mention. And in this week's Torah portion, we not only have a recapitulation of the 10 Commandments, worded just a wee bit differently, but we also learn, receive, and this is the source, of the Shema, the cornerstone prayer of our faith and the foundation of our Jewish monotheism. I guess that's redundant. And I'm hoping, because I'm going to hold it maybe like this and read so you can see it a little better. And we are going to need someone for the Aliyah.
Does anyone want to join me in offering the blessings before and after the Torah reading? Bruckheimer, excellent.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to pause for a second.
All right, Mike, while the cantor is getting ready, is it okay for us to do the blessing, cantor? Okay. Baruch Hu Adonai Hambarach, Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Vaed, Baruch Adonai Hambarach
Leolam Vaed,
Baruch Eloheinu Melech Haolam Mikol Hamim Natan
Manu Torah Emet,
Baruch Atah
Adonai Noten HaTorah.
I may just end up holding it up so you, perfect, thank you. So you can see there's a lot of open spaces to this side. That's actually the recapitulation of the 10 Commandments. And you may notice over here and where my forehead is reaching, that would be the Shema with the extra dalit that is very, very, very large. I don't know if you can see it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to read it not like that, though, because that will be too hard. Hebrew, right to left, and then reading on a screen, left to right. Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levacha ubechol nafshecha, ubechol me'odecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh, asher Anochi mitzavecha, hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'divartam bam, b'shivtecha b'beitecha, u'v'lechtecha b'derech, u'v'shochbecha, u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam leot al yadecha, ve'ayu letotafot bein einecha, u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha.
So Mike, if you and I would return to the blessing after the reading of the Torah. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Asher nanu Torah emet, v'chayolam nata b'tokenu, Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
And with the Torah out, and with this moment of profound depth of hearing the words of our central declaration and our commandment, we also recognize that at this time, there are so many who are in need of our attention, so many who are outside of being able to connect with us, even in this means because they are struggling with health issues. So many in need of healing, so many in need of sustaining as they heal others, so many in need of strength. In our own community, we remember to pray for healing for those who are close to us: Doug Baker, Des Del Barba, Katie Berg, Megan Carney Cranmer, Debbie Caniglio, Denise Cooper, Etta Finanziani, Kathy Freudenheim, David Froman, Sharon Froman, Saul Glynna, Rose Haber, Ren Hauser, Howard Hilfstein, Myra Horowitz, Tracy Jacobowitz, Eugene Lesser, the Mara family, James Nicholson, Susan Reynes, Sheila Ross, Yetta Rubin, Ruth Shop, Sandra Shapiro, Miriam Sherman, Laura Spire, Paul Staley, Helene Steinhardt, Victoria Vosa, Andy Weiner, Jerry Weiner, Yadon Wolfson, Mark Yablin, Linda Zemmel, Neil Zions, Sarah Aviva Bat Lebesha Yehudit, and Yitzhak Chaim Ben Miriam. For all of them, we wish healing and recovery, and quickly, as we sing our Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Misha Berach Imotenu, Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Birachel. May the one who blessed our mothers, may the one who blessed our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well. Bless us with the power of your healing. Bless us with the power of your hope. May the pain and loneliness we're feeling be diminished by the power of your love. Mi Shabbat. Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Mi sheberach imotenu, Zara, Rivka, Leah, v'Rachel. May the one who bless our mothers, may the one who bless our fathers, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, hear our prayer, and bless us as well.
We say, Baruch atah Adonai rofeh hacholim, praised are you, Adonai, healer of the sick. And for our special section of the Haftarah today, we turn to Isaiah.
So this week's Haftarah portion, of course, Isaiah is a visionary. We started with Shabbat Chazon, the Sabbath vision last week with Parshat Varim. And this week's Haftarah always coincides with the Shabbat that occurs after Tisha B'Av, the saddest, most depressing, I say, day in all of Judaism. Many people think it's Yom Kippur. However, it's actually Tisha B'Av because it commemorates the destruction of first and second temples, even the edicts of the Jews being expelled in Spain, parts of Europe. All of these dates commemorate always on the 9th of Av. So we observe and commemorate that day. If you didn't, wearing, lying on the floor, sitting on the floor, as if you were in a house of Shiva, as if you were commemorating mourning yourself. And so this is the Sabbath, Shabbat Nachamu, the Sabbath of consolation, where typically our Haftarah, our prophetic readings, would provide maybe not so much comfort in the teachings of our prophets about our behavior as our ancestors shown in Torah, but this one is the comfort of God comforting our people, as well as taking comfort in the fact that Jerusalem will be handled tenderly and delicately, not the city, but just, B'nai Yisrael. And so I will chant the preceding the Haftarah reading blessing. I will chant a little bit of Isaiah chapter 40, starting with verse 1, if you wish to follow along. And for those who don't have Chumashim with you, I will be more than happy to translate. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratza b'divreihem הנאמרים באמת, ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בתורה, ובמשה עבדו, ובישראל עמו, ובנביאי האמת, בצדק. Nachamu, Nachamu, Ami, Yomar, Aleichem, Daberu, Alev Yerushalayim, V'kir'u eleha, Ki mal'at tziva'ah, Ki nirtza avona, Ki lakecha מיד אדוני כפליים בכל חטאותיה קול קורא במדבר פנו דרך אדוני ישרו בערבה מסלה לאלוהינו כל גיא ינסה וכל הר בגבעה ישפלו והיה העקוב למישור והר חסים לבקעה ונגלה כבוד אדוני וראו כל בשר יחדיו כי Adonai diber. So you have the translation in front of you, and now I'm going to conclude with the chanting of the blessings that follow this Haftarah reading. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, tzur kol haolamim, tzadik bechol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. And so we move to a little discussion of what's going on in this week's Torah reading. This is from Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5, which is a little before the reiteration of the Ten Commandments and Shema. It says, "See, I am teaching you laws and regulations as Adonai my God has commanded me to do thus amid the land that you are entering to possess." So Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichov, a Hasidic teacher from the 1800s, offered this interpretation. He said, this may be interpreted in the way we have also understood. From Exodus, it says, the descendants of Israel did as Adonai had commanded Moses. The principle is that God spoke the commandments to Moses to be said to Israel, but in truth, hearing from the master is not the same as hearing from the disciple, it says in the Talmud. They did not attain the expansion of mind that came with God's speaking to Moses until they actually acted out the commandment. Only then did they reach that state. This is the meaning of Israel did as Adonai had commanded. They did it with the same expanded mind that Moses had when God had commanded him. So this is a very interesting piece. It continues in another vein to talk about the degree to which Moses, in fact, could never accomplish what we as Israel do. That Moses, the teacher, never got to do the commandments because Moses was stuck on the other side of the Jordan and never got to go into Israel and fulfill the acting out of things. That knowing things and learning things is fulfilled by doing them. How embedded in Jewish culture is this? Well, we need only go to another Jewish scholar, Maimonides, who often commented that there are two types of mitzvot, that there are chukim and mishpatim. And a mishpat is a judgment. A judgment makes sense to us. It is something that we look out and discern and we say, okay, no stealing, that makes sense. no murder. That really makes sense. Don't boil a baby goat in its mother's milk. Yeah, that makes less sense. That's a hook, a decree. Not mixing linen and wool in a garment. That makes less sense too. That's also a decree. However, Maimonides said that all rules, all mitzvot, all commandments are mishpatim, are judgments from the perspective of God. That is, they are self-evident from God's perspective. And our job is not to question them, but to do them and figure out how they are significant. How much is this part of all of our cultures? In rabbinical school, one of the things we were asked to do was experiment with a strict commandment that we don't do in our normal lives, so that we would see if there was a rationale by doing as opposed to theorizing. And most of us understand this very intrinsically in a learning session. The reason we have to take tests to pass a class is because just because I've sat in class and think I know something, knowing it and being able to prove that I know it by doing it are two different things. Singing along and leading singing, two different things. To know something in our bodies, in our doing, in our minds to reproduce it, is to really embrace it. To, as Mike Bruckheimer would remind us in Robert Heinlein's language, to grok it, to know it fully with the entirety of our being, a word he created in Stranger in a Strange Land. We are asked as Jews to know in a bodily, call it genetic DNA sense, to change our fundamental chemistry through our knowing. And the only way we do that is by doing. There's a wonderful story about an Israeli pianist, a piano player, a classical piano player, who was reviewed by great authorities and in the music world because of his capacity to improvise on Bach's Goldberg variations. And that when critics heard him improvising on Bach, what they said is it was as if they were listening to Bach create something new. And this is Jewish learning, to know something so well, to integrate it into our hearts and minds, that when we create something new, it is with utter and complete authenticity to our source text. This is how Judaism has expanded our understanding of Torah, so that generation by generation, we don't necessarily add to the text, we live it and do it and expand its understanding. And so we expand our sense of how we can be Jewish, how we can be righteous, how we can learn and live, how we can do and listen and redo and experiment and do better. And so we go into Shabbat with that adventurous idea that our learning should become transformative by us experimenting with it and doing with it. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And it is my distinct honor to invite our board member who is here with us today, Ken Graber, who is the president of our brotherhood and a member of our board, to offer some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Rabbi and Cantor. Beautiful service, and thanks for the Devorah Torah. I just have a few things to say. First of all, I think by now everybody understands that all our services, of course, are on Zoom. Friday night at 6, Saturday morning at 10:30. We have Torah study at 9:15 Saturday morning. Regular learning with the rabbi at 11:30. Also, the Cantor has joined with Jewish Family Service to have some programs for the bar and bat mitzvah students. If anybody knows any of them, please pass along for the month of August on Tuesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. via Zoom. Cantor Myers will be working with some people from the social workers from the Jewish Family Service to address different issues for young people. Of course, we also started Shul Cloud. Everybody by now should have gotten the emails from the temple. This allows us to have all the information right at our fingertips and pay bills, etc. If you're having any problems with it, contact Kara at the temple. It's kira@tbz.org. I also like to remind everybody of all our programs, of course, are unfortunately paused. Let's use that word. I'm sure they'll be back eventually. However, Brotherhood and Sisterhood have been sending out their information about the new year for membership. And it's very important for people to belong so that we can do something. If we don't have any members, we can't do anything. Also, I know the Red Cross is looking for donations for blood. Also, and I comment on this, the rabbi, the cantor, and Judy Henn all have discretionary funds, and they help people who are less fortunate anonymously to us. And if you have some extra funds, you can either contact them directly or send it to the temple in a check indicating it's for that purpose. Last but not least, if anybody knows of anyone having any problems, the Jewish Family Service and the Jewish Federation are there to help. Contact the temple office and I'll give you further information on how to pass it along to them. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you so much for sharing all of that is going on with our community. And we know that it is indeed a communal effort. It is upon us all together to figure out a way to do together, to sustain together, and to bring a vision for a better world together. And so we turn to Aleinu, one of our concluding prayers, to remind us exactly how to do that. And so if you are comfortable rising and facing east once again, we invite you to Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליותר בראשית, שלא עשה לפגועי הרצון, ולא סבנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם בגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ונשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Democracy is not a state, it is an act, and each generation must do its part to help build what we call the beloved community, a nation and world society at peace with itself.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
And as we turn towards the end of our service, we recognize that there are people whom we miss, people who we hoped would be with us here at this moment, not merely the thousands upon thousands of people that we have lost in this country and in the world to COVID-19, but also the people who are close to us, who have died recently, the people who are in our hearts, who have died over the course of years, but whose anniversary of their passing is this day, or at this season. And so we expand our world constantly by our doings, and we expand their reality, those who are gone, by bringing them through us, by being their agents in our world. And so we remember most recently Arnold Chernick and Beth C. Pilara, whose families are still in the first 7 days of mourning, the period of Shiva. We remember Bella Pearl Baum, Anita Goldberg, Adelaide, who was Adele Klein, and Erwin M. Rovner, whose families are still in the first month, the first 30 days, Shloshim, of mourning. And we remember the yard sites of those who passed it this season: Mabel Altman, Iris Biltikoff, Morris Dezorat, Mildred Edelman, Philip Eisenberg, Nettie Fleischman Ellis, Mildred Beck Gerstmann, Phyllis Goodman, Fanny Roblin Greenberg, Clara G. Israel, Shirley Sapowicz Schwanz, Cecilia Lawrence, Rhoda Spector Weisner, Edward I. Levy, Evelyn Sperling Levy, Jerome Livingston, Florence L. Lewis, Lester Markle, Robert Marks, Gloria Ann Levy Mayer, Penny Peckhoff, Marguerite Reinauer, Joseph H. Rosenthal, Dinah Hiddleman Rothenberg, Richard S. Russlander, Sheldon Schneiderman, Joseph Sparberg, Samuel J. Weinstein, Blanche S. Weiss, Edward H. Wolkind, Herbert Zeplowitz, and Paul Zinn. We hold them all in our hearts, and those whose names we haven't mentioned as well, as we invite you, if you are comfortable, to rise and wish to join us in saying Mourner's Kaddish, to do so. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'amad divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman karim v'imru amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'almei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha barichu. La'ela minko birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We say, may peace be brought upon us from the one who makes peace above, peace in all worlds, peace upon us, peace upon Israel, peace for all who dwell on earth, and comfort and peace for those who mourn. We say, Amen, and Zichronam Levracha, may their memories always be for blessings. You may be seated if you are standing as we turn to Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת ויקדשהו.
L'chaim.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הדופן.
Amen.
I'm talking about Shlomo Chodesh Yomayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
B'te'avon, bon appetit. Let's eat. We say, as we do every day, twice a day, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. May we find together oneness on this Shabbat. May we go and learn and do together. May we have truly a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom chaverim, shalom chaverim, shalom, shalom. Lehitraot, lehitraot, shalom, shalom. Goodbye, my friends, goodbye, my friends, goodbye, goodbye. Till we meet again, till we meet again. Goodbye.